And we are recording. So first of all, Stephanie and Linda and Lisa and Jennifer, thank you so much for being here live, because y'all know how hard it is to talk to nobody when you're doing these. And because this is interactive this morning, it's all about kind of a little workshop style exercise. So it just means a lot to me that you guys are here live. And welcome, Shannon. We just started. I've got everybody muted, and we're going. We're gonna head off onto this journey of word medicine this morning. So for, most of you gals actually know me pretty well, except for one or two, but maybe you have heard part of this story and maybe you haven't. So I've been journaling all of my life, since I was 15 years old, basically, and I kept every single one of those journals, believe it or not. Like, I have a box in my closet with that first I should have brought it for show and tell this morning, with that first little diary with the little tiny silver lock on it with that funny little key. Like, I have that. Like, I'm so proud of myself for actually keeping those things, right? But when I opened my physical therapy business in 2008, I started blogging. So that's when I took everything kind of to the next level and decided I was actually going to write for other people. So Bodyworks Physical Therapy has been around since 2008. I worked in other physical therapy places from the time I graduated until then, and I wasn't really writing so much for other people to read until I started blogging. And I never stopped journaling all through those years, basically all through my life. And at my entire life, and you can ask my ex-husband this, I talked about writing a book. I would talk about that all the time and never do it. And then in 2012 was the end of a 6-year journey for my son and I. We joined Taekwondo together as an activity for him when he was like 5.5. And at the end of that time, I sort of looked back at the experience. We earned our black belts together when he was 11. It was a 6-year journey that I journaled through. I looked back at that, and I looked back at my journals, and I thought to myself, oh my God, my book has been already written inside of my journals. And so I published my very first self-published memoir through Balboa Press, which is Hay House's self-publishing company, called Living, Healing, and Taekwondo. And it was really the journey, that 6-year journey we took, but it was also about me as a mom and a wife and a physical therapist and my healing experiences during that time. And believe it or not, in Taekwondo, every time we would take an exam, part of our exam was to write an essay. We actually had to turn in the essay as part of our belt promotion. So writing had been a part of that journey too, which is crazy. And I wrote every single essay in my journal before I typed it up and handed it to him. So I had all of this stuff. 6 years worth was pretty freaking amazing. So got that book done, and it was really terrifying to have my words out loud for the world to read for the first time ever. If I had really only known what I know now back then, that book would have probably sold more copies, and I would have been a better book marketer. But like, I had an email list of 100 back then, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing with book marketing or book anything. I just did it anyway. I learned along the way, which is really, Brave Healer is about that practice of action taking, and right inside of that action is the way that you do what you want to do. So I did it way back then, and I continued to do it. At some point, let's see, it was 2014, and I took a very profound healing course. Was for my license. We have to take a couple courses a year to keep our license as a physical therapist. And I went out to Sedona to take Quantum Leap with John Barnes. 2014, that experience, after that experience, the Warrior Journals were born. So some of you know about those. So between 2014 and 2017, 4 volumes of poetry came out of me. That's another awesome long story that I'm going to skip today. And then in 2015, I had another book moving through me, what I thought was another book. And I signed up for Nanowrimo, which started yesterday, gals. If anybody's interested, Nanowrimo is National Novel Writing Month, is November. And the goal of that free program online is to write a 30,000 word book in 30 days. Well, I was excited because I had that book moving through me, signed up for the program, and at the end of 30 days, I had 65,000 words detailing the wounds of my childhood. That was the book I thought was the book. But what it ended up being was the feng shui I needed to do for my soul for the real book to come through. And that real book was Brave Healing, A Guide for Your Journey, and it was released by Possibilities Publishing Company this past June. That's my book that you see all over the place with that beautiful woman standing on the hill. So writing to feng shui my soul, right? That's a healing tool that I use, that I have used since I was a teenager. And so now I can look at that process and all of the other different healing tools I've learned in my career as a healer. I decided to marry the two together and come up with what I call this Brave Healing method, which is a little bit of body awareness and a little bit of intuitive writing. I write to clear that space. I write to dream out loud. I write to feel and heal and help you guys be brave. And it's turned into this much bigger mission I could have never even dreamed of back when I started to scribble in those little journals. But I am incredibly passionate about it. Words, written and spoken and shared, heal you and they heal the world. So I know you all have a message, and I know that you have a story. And what you might not know is just how powerful those messages and stories are and or could be as you move them out of you, either in the form of writing or speaking. I want to encourage you today, words are medicine. This word medicine thing is real. How does it happen like that? The way that words do that is by the energy and feeling you have while you write or speak. So today I'm going to give you a little taste of this, and we're going to have some fun doing some writing together this morning. This intuitive writing process has to do with being in a feeling, purposeful feeling and energetic state as you write your words. And we can interject the word speak there too, because it's the same. Like if I came to you guys this morning and I did not shift into inspiration mode and I was just kind of tired, it's early and I have like 50 other things to do today, so I was just feeling like a little annoyed inside, believe me, you would feel it. So the feeling with which you got to get into the feeling you want your people to feel. And that is how it happens. So if you have a healing business, if you're an author or a healer or an artist or a coach, and you want your people to feel this message, you have an idea of how you want them to feel. Inspired would be a really great one. Maybe you want them to feel hopeful. Maybe you want them to feel a little brave. So what you do is you embody that feeling first. You go first. And then you write and speak and share those words. And you know how you pick up a book and it's been around a while, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. And you're reading the words of this book and all of a sudden you are like hit in the chest with this feeling. How does that happen? Right? The words triggering you into that feeling. The person wrote those words so long ago, yet you're sitting there all by yourself in your home reading this book and tears are streaming down your face and you've got this feeling inside of you. That is amazing to me, that we now can write words that will help somebody else feel something and inspire them to, you guys fill in the blank with what your mission is for your business. So I want to give you the taste of this intuitive writing process. We're going to do a guided body awareness exercise and a little bit of writing. So have your pen and notebook handy. And then we're going to move into talking about our mission statements. And I will get to that in a minute. And so for those of you watching this replay, we're going to come into some guided exercises now, and there will be a few minutes of silent writing time. So if you're popping into where we're all just real quiet, it's because we're writing. And so when we talk about the mission statement, we're going to get back into that idea that the feeling is what matters, your why. The why behind what you're doing has a feeling. And this is powerful, powerful stuff, gals. So I'm going to invite you to just sit back and get comfortable. Close your eyes with me for a moment. And we'll sort of drop down into our bodies and bring all the visual distractions out of the picture just by closing your eyes, and allow yourself to just feel. First of all, just feel my gratitude. Thank you all so much for showing up with me live this morning. And relax your head, neck, and shoulders, your throat, your jaw. Pat yourself on the back for showing up this morning. You know, bring that smile from your lips into your heart. You're doing something for yourself this morning. You are here to be inspired and maybe to feel a little bit more brave about sharing your words. And I'm so here for you for that. Relax your shoulders and your chest and upper back, and just sink the weight of your body into the chair. Clear your mind and come into the feeling senses of your body. Whatever they are, we're just going to do the experiment of being curious about how we feel this morning. Everybody here has their lives going on. Something happened yesterday. You went to sleep. Maybe you slept. Maybe you didn't sleep. And here you are this morning with what? Well, right this moment, we can choose to just relax into our body and clear all of that stuff out of our mind. What do you feel? Relax into your torso, soften your low back and belly, breathe deeply into your pelvic bowl. Give yourself the gift of some deep breaths this morning. It'll help wake you up too. Relax into your butt and your hips, your thighs. Feel how your body feels on the chair. What surfaces are touching? Is it warm or cool in the room that you're sitting in? What do you feel? What do you notice? Scan your body for places of tightness and see if you can breathe into those spaces and release with your exhales. Make some space around the tight spots this morning. Allow them to be there. Give yourself permission to feel everything today. Relaxing down through your legs into your feet. Feel your feet touching the ground or wherever they're touching. And with a couple more deep breaths, on your exhale, let yourself go from your head down to your toes. Everything is melting. One more deep breath. And then open your eyes and keep yourself centered and grounded in your feeling state for a moment with your eyes open. You're still noticing. Different parts of your body might be getting your attention. Just bring your attention to those spaces, breathing into them, with them, just for a moment with your eyes open. And then grab your pen, and we're going to do a 3-minute writing prompt to warm us up. And I'm just getting my timer going here. And what I want you to do with this writing is write as fast as you can without stopping, without censoring yourself, without worrying about spelling or grammar or even finishing sentences. Write as fast as you can for 3 minutes. I feel. Go, ladies. If for some reason you feel stuck, then write I feel stuck 100 times until something else moves out of you. Move what's coming through from your inside to your pen. Okay, pens up. So I'm going to invite, hang on a second, let me make sure Miss Linda and Stephanie are unmuted. And then for the rest of you that can see me, you can raise your hand, but I'm going to invite one person to read what they wrote this morning. Who wants to be the brave one of the Friday morning writing party? You're going to read from the first word to the last with no backstory to begin with, and you're just going to do a raw share of this free writing we just did. Who wants to do it? Come on, gals.
Almost.
Was that Stephanie?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so Stephanie, when we do shares like this, it's really just for the purpose of putting the vibration of our voice to the words, and it's a powerful thing. So I thank you for being brave this morning. So you're just going to read what you wrote. If parts you can't read because you were writing so fast, it's okay. Just skip over and keep reading.
Okay, I said, I feel inspired, I feel hopeful. I feel like I have the power to heal so many people who have gone through the adoption process, whether it is children who have been adopted, birth mothers who have selflessly given their children up for adoption, or adoptive parents who have selflessly taken on the responsibility of loving and raising a child they are unbiologically related to. I feel like the time is now. I feel as if God is guiding me to share my story with the world. I am keenly aware of all the serendipitous events of the past few days, all of which have led me to tell my story. I feel sad recalling the memories of Luke's birth and the ensuing trauma of giving him up. I feel scared about how others may perceive my decision. I'm anxious about getting it all out. I'm afraid of being judged.
Thank you. So, thank you, Stephanie. So one of the biggest secrets, and it is so simple, gals, to writing, speaking, and sharing words that feel good, soulful, and that help other people resonate with you. So they're reading things like your copy you're writing on your website, your sales pages, your blogs, your books. One of the hugest secrets is to read it out loud to yourself. That's the editing process. That's the first editing process. So even better, if you want to up level that, read it out loud to somebody else, because that takes it all up, I don't know, not even one notch, probably 5 or 10 notches when someone else is listening. But even to yourself, a couple things are going to happen. First of all, you're going to either feel or not feel the emotion, the feeling that I've already talked about. You're either going to feel it or you're not going to feel it. And then you're going to know if you're on track there or if you're a little off track, or I'll say robotic or zombie-ish. So if you're reading it back to yourself and you're not feeling the feels you want to feel that you're hoping the other person will feel, you can go back and think about that a little bit, get back into your body, conjure up the feeling that you're hoping to be giving as that gift, and then do a little bit of editing, write it over, whatever you need to do. When you share it with someone else, it amps up the brave factor, because then you are opening yourself up to their judgment, right? So I highly suggest you pick somebody you trust completely and love, and who you know has your back about this writing thing. And it's funny, I was sitting at the kitchen counter where we all sit in the kitchen with my daughter, who was doing homework, and she hollered at me to come in, and she's like, "Mom, can I read this to you?" And she was working on an English essay for her homework. And I said, "Sure." So I stood there and listened to, you guys all remember Catcher in the Rye, right? So she was doing an essay about the book, and as we went, she was catching her own places where she needed to change. And it was fantastic. And at the end, I looked at her, I'm like, you realize you just did the biggest trick, to editing your own words. And she kind of smiled at me. I said, reading it out loud is so powerful. She kind of nodded her head, but she's writing for a teacher. You all might be writing possibly for the world to read. So there tends to feel like there's a little bit more tension in that. And honestly, when you're coming into the authentic you, who is an incredibly sensitive and feeling being, that's really the only place you ever need to worry about being. Because the words end up coming from a place that even doesn't feel like you. It feels bigger. It feels like this bigger connection, like you're almost channeling the words. And everybody can connect like that and do that. And it's really about coming into that body space and moving the message from that space rather than overthinking the message too much. In fact, overthinking it and then writing it like that is probably the best way to have people scrolling through your stuff instead of reading it, because it starts to feel stiff and a little bit robotic and yeah, stuff like that. So, okay, so before we move on to this next exercise, does anyone have a comment, a question, anything that they want to add to the conversation right this moment? And just unmute if you do. And Stephanie and Linda, I unmuted both of you in case you have something. No? All right. Okay, and feel free to put in the chat box too, gals, if you have something you just want me to address, but you don't want to like unmute and talk about it. Okay, so as far as thinking about these kinds of soulful words that help other people resonate with you and your feel and your message, I think one of the very basic things that doesn't get done is the thinking and feeling and writing of the mission statement. And that can be you can use it in lots of different ways. You can have a big mission statement for your whole business. Yes, cool. And if you don't have one of those, you need to start there. This is your why. And your why must be big. It must, when you read it out loud to yourself, you get a little choked up. Your why should make you cry, okay? Your why should bring you into the feel of why you are alive doing what you're doing. If it's not quite doing that for you, then that is something to do maybe some separate journaling about. And if you're already there with that, then craft a mission statement that you can begin to use and even put on your about page on your website. And so we're going to do a little bit of that right now, but I wanted to also suggest that you can use this idea of a mission statement for anything. So for instance, there might be this blog that I'm going to write about intuition. And I would like for people to understand that the language of their soul is, and their intuition is that language. And that the language is really the felt sense. It's what you're noticing and sensing in your body, mind, body. And I want to write this article, and if I don't really have a mini mission for that article, then I might sort of lose myself through it in the writing process or the final message. If it's going to be for my ideal client, my perfect client, the woman I really want to inspire and help to feel brave about their writing, a mini mission statement for that blog might be the way to go. Okay, so I just stop and I pause and I ask myself, what is the mission of this blog? And yes, I want to inspire the heck out of them. I want them to feel brave about telling their story. So am I doing that myself? Am I getting myself into the feel of that? Am I sharing any part of my own vulnerable story there? Am I giving them some tips about the how-to inside of that blog? So you can think about your mission for anything. What's the mission that you have for your program that you're offering? What's the mission that you have for your book? What's the mission you have for the sales page for the program you're offering? Sounds funny to have a mission statement, or you might say, well, isn't it just the same thing as the mission statement for my business as a whole? Maybe, but I'm suggesting that it might be a little bit more specific. So what we're going to do now is we'll do another guided exercise into that space. And what I want you to start to think about, because everybody here has something different behind it. You've got a different kind of feel, and maybe some of them are similar to mine. You know, you want to inspire, you want to fill people with hope and courage and inspiration and enthusiasm, and maybe you have some other words that are coming to you right now. Write them down if they are. because what you're feeling is a piece, a big, big piece of what this mission is for you, for your business, and then for all of those different things I mentioned that you can think about. Talk, and when I say talk, I mean write and talk to your prospective client like they're your best friend, and you are writing them a love letter. You are talking to them like you guys are sitting on the couch in your fuzzy pants on a Friday night with a glass of wine, and you're just dishing the dish. And you're relaxed, and you're happy, and you're happy to be with that person sitting next to you. And you have dropped the filter. You're basically sitting inside of your truest self to do that chat. So what if you could get inside of that place and be your full-on self? And that is what the clients will click on. What if? So why would I want you to be anything but your truest self? And what's the mission here? Okay, so we're going to play with this a little bit. So I'm going to have you all now just close your eyes again, and let's do this again. And now notice how fast you can get right back into your body for this. Okay, so I've been chatting and you've been listening. So now you're just going to clear your mind one more time. And all of this is recorded anyway. So you just clear your mind. Don't even worry about anything I've said so far, and come right back into the body, into this feeling space. But this time, as you're relaxing and releasing and letting go and melting and just feeling all of the little nooks and crannies of your body and what's going on, and even some of the feelings that have crept in since you've started to hear me speak. Breathe into those spaces and open up around the tight spots. Make some space in there. And begin to think about your big why, your big mission. Why do you do what you do? What do you want people to feel? This is part of your mission. It's a much bigger part than you think. You help people feel some kind of way. What is it? Think about it now. And I'm going to go with the inspiration route for myself and just for speaking it out loud right now. And I'm going to use gratitude for a minute. So right this moment, I fill myself up with an immense amount of gratitude. So much of it fills the center of my chest, and I'm going to let it spread out big and wide out to the borders of my skin. And I'm going to even just let it pop out beyond my body and radiate into the world. So incredibly grateful to have you women here with me this morning doing this thing together. I'm feeling it. I love it. It turns me on. And I'm going to give myself full permission to feel it right this moment. I'm going to breathe it in deeply. Do that for you right now. And imagine the feeling you're wanting to help other people feel. Breathe it, deep breaths. Let it spread. Take off the brakes. Unlatch the box. Let it get bigger. Give yourself permission to feel it. Let your cells be infused with it. Thinking about the why behind what you do and the feeling you want to help people feel. That is part of your mission statement. One more deep breath with me. And then open your eyes, grab that pen and your new piece of paper. Part of my mission is to help people feel. We're going to do 5 awesome minutes on this one. Part of my mission is to help people feel. Off you go. Okay, pens up. So usually I have about half of the people saying that they could have written for like an hour, and half of the people saying that, you know, it was the other direction, that they might have gotten stopped up a little bit in any of these free writing exercises. That's sometimes how it goes. And it happens both ways, happen all the time. So if you find yourself being one of those ones that gets stuck in the middle, nothing else is coming, all you have to do is drop the thinking about it and come back into the body. Take those next few breaths and then start again. Okay, so here's mine on this last one. Part of my mission is to help people feel inspired and brave, worthy, oh, so worthy, to step into their worth. No, cannonball into it with a running leap, coming up for air, the first breath they may have ever taken, truly connected to their joy. What it feels like to feel worthy, strong, unshakable, aware, curious, flexible, unattached, joyful, loving, courageous, free. Oh my God, the freedom that's found in reclaiming my worth, it's so good. It's soaked in purpose and love and pushes me even when I'm afraid. Who would like to read their mission feel statement? One person. Come on, be brave, gals. I need one. All right, Lisa, off you go. Let's unmute you. There we go.
My mission is to help people feel the courage to follow the niggling feelings deep inside that beg them to wake up, live more fully, that I can hold a safe space to start the courageous conversations with the parts that dwell just out of their awareness, in the shadows, to help people with their inner struggles, dissatisfactions, grief, longings, fears, worries, so they can unlayer what is holding them back, explore their dark heart, those hidden voices, so they can finally listen with the ears of their heart to all the other wise voices speaking.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, gals, so we are hitting our 45-minute mark now. I know that goes fast, especially when you're writing your heart and soul out on your page. So let me talk to you gals a few minutes about this intuitive writing thing. My next workshop is coming January 7th. It's Friday mornings, 9 to 11. It's a 2-hour live call, 6 weeks, once a week, 6 weeks. And I'm going to paste the link in the chat for you in case you haven't seen that page. There are several ladies here who have been in my class and who know how this rolls. And so for the ones who haven't been, because you showed up live today, if you sign up for this class, you're going to get an hour and a half of one-on-one coaching included in that class in the new year. And the reason I'm giving that bonus is because I realize that as you go through the 6 weeks of this Intuitive Writing for Healers program, a lot of the time you're in a stage of healing and writing and trying to be brave, and you just need to be shoved off the cliff once in a while, like one-on-one. And I'm really good at that. I'm good at shoving in a way that makes you feel really good, that makes you know you've got the wings for the way down. Okay, so so that is the offer to my live gals this morning, an hour and a half of extra one-on-one coaching if you sign up for this program. I'm not going to really put a time limit on it. I mean, we only have a couple of months before the program starts anyhow. So I have all your names down who were here with me, and if you guys have questions, you can email me. And what I want you to know before and I'll spend a couple of minutes with questions, or if you have a thing that you're writing that you just want a couple of minutes of coaching on right now, I'd be happy to. But the thing I want you to know is that your message matters. You've heard me say this before. It matters in such a big way. It's so powerful. You gals were born, so you're worthy. The messages that are out loud right now are changing the world. Don't hide them inside anymore. I know from experience that as you release them, not only are you healed, but you give other people around you an opportunity for healing they never knew they had. And this is such a powerful thing. My revolution of brave healers is basically why I was born. I figured that out a few years ago when I taught my very first class. And I walked out of the class and I literally put my hands up to the sky and said, thank you for this feeling I have right now, which was that I had found what I was born for. So I want to slide some of that inspiration and enthusiasm and courage your way. And the 6-week class is kind of what I've developed to do that in a much deeper way than today. So if you liked having this connection in this little free call and you really want the super boost, then that's the program, okay? So thank you, gals, for being here. I'm going to stay on for questions. And if you've got one or just a comment, then just unmute. Yes, Linda, it's once a week, Friday mornings, starting the 7th, Friday, the 7th of January. So just unmute and make your comment or your question, gals. We can just open it up for conversation at this point. I am going to stop our recording so that we can do that privately. And so for anyone watching this replay, thank you for watching. And if you all have questions afterwards, you guys can email me, okay, at bewarriorlove@gmail.com. That's bewarriorlove@gmail.com. So thanks for watching. Ask me about the class. Email me your questions and comments. And I'm going to go ahead and end our recording here if I can find it.
Well, I have one question.
Yeah, one second, Gina. I don't know why.